parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just to hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, so come and listen to see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the weird mountain gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
Yeah. Well, you know what I remember? What I remember is it used to be, and maybe 10, 15 years ago, I don't know, not super recently, is that if you had family coming into town and you wanted to go see the big house in the garden,
Yeah.
you could find somebody that could get you some passes. Now, you might not be able to get all 4 of your family members in for free, but, you know, it would be like buy one, get one free, or, you know, with a paid
Yeah.
admission, you get whatever. Boy, I can't find any of those around anymore.
Well, now, didn't they used to have a program where if you lived in Buncombe County, your driver's license had Buncombe County on it, that you could come in and buy a greatly reduced ticket? That was it, like
I
a
don't
half price
know.
ticket?
I don't know. I doubt
would-
they do it anymore.
Oh, I know. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. But so I tend to think that you could buy like 2 or 3 tickets and just save them for people coming into town. And then
Yeah.
I think if you had a season's pass, of course, you could come in. Oh, and you could buy a season pass cheaper,
Right.
which I don't have any clue as to what they cost now. The season's pass. But and the grounds are a lot more grown up now. You know, they've basically built a whole village down below the house, the home.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it's not just house and gardens, it's everything.
Yeah.
And a winery and a couple of hotels and a bunch of restaurants.
And I'll bet you that winery, it's really probably come into its own now, because hadn't it been about, I guess it's been going 30 years now.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Long time.
Damn, we're old. Sorry.
We are.
I'll
Well, I
cut
am
that.
looking, as you were doing yesterday, earlier, Ms. ADHD. I went to the Biltmore website to look at it. The annual pass is $299.
Wow. Wow. See,
But I
that's
think if
hard
you
for me.
I think if you are already a pass holder, that renewing the pass is cheaper.
Hmm.
I think that's a one-time investment, and then you get to pay a little bit less
I
next
wonder
time.
if that covers the Christmas season. I'm sure it would during certain hours, but then there are other hours during Christmas that they just have that they sell tickets to.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that you were in, was it Woman Song that worked down there?
No, well, when we did the winery at Christmas time, we were called the Boar's Head Carolers, and we sang uh, all the old Christmas carols that were pre 1895, which is when the house
Wow.
opened, and we wore Victorian clothes at the winery. Then they opened up for the flower festival. I can't remember what they called that.
Festival of
Then,
Flowers.
yeah, festival of flowers. Yeah, that's what they called it. And we did. Then we became the Greenwood Consort, so that we
I
could
like that.
sing. We sang lots of madrigals and that kind of stuff in the garden.
Yeah. Man, I'd love to go back in time and I wonder how many times I've seen you. I worked there as a second job for years. Did you know that? That was one of my second jobs. I worked there every Christmas season. And it was a cinch for me because the hotels were really slow back then. So I worked the very first time they did the night Christmas thing, and I don't even remember what you call it now, but I've worked from the very first season of it. And I know that first year they had a feast. It was a feast. They had exactly what they would have served if it had been a feast when the Cecils were alive. And so they had all these dishes that to us that sounded exotic, like they had quail and turtle soup and just all kinds of things that are just not commonly served in restaurants around here. And I remember I tore into it. I tried all the stuff that they had, just a bite of it or something if I had never tried it. And I remember somebody saying, "You're not afraid to try that?" It's like, no, why would I be? And they had some great looking vegetable dishes. And the thing is, so they sent us, we all ate there for free, the ones that were selling tickets for them and working with the public in that way. And see, I worked in the office in Asheville for them prior to the season. I would be on the phone answering questions about the property and the Christmas season and all of that stuff. And then when they actually opened up for the nights and stuff, that's when I would go to the property itself and work either in the ticket office or giving tours, right? And that candlelight tours, candlelight Christmas, that's what it was. Candlelight Christmas at Biltmore. Well, that first season, that food really was a feast. And it took us, I think there was about 20 of us, and it took us, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours to eat it, the way that it was being served and, all of that. And they did not offer it again. And I'm not surprised because I don't know how they could have made money on it. They couldn't have. And but damn, that was some good food. It was wonderful to just have a little bite of this and a little bite of that. And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and I didn't see a single green salad though, I'll tell you that.
No, well, that wasn't really a thing back then,
I
very
guess it
much.
wasn't. Yeah, I guess it wasn't. I've had some of that type of food before, like the turtle soup I've had quail and I've had some of the other things too. But I don't know. I just wanted to try it and see what it would have been like to eat back then.
Yeah.
What's the most weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Well, I guess that kind of depends. I mean, I've eaten some stuff that people outside Appalachia would think was weird, like squirrel and possum, but isn't weird around here. Um, and I've eaten escargot, which people around here might think was weird. I don't know. I've eaten a lot of stuff like rattlesnake and gator, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you ever ate?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, I don't know. I was thinking about that myself. I've had those things as well. And then I I don't care for I haven't had possum. See, I'm lucky in that way because that was kind of it's like, man, if you have to get roadkill to eat, you're scraping the very bottom of the barrel, right?
Well,
So I never got to there.
I mean, you wouldn't have to eat possum as roadkill. You could shoot it or trap it.
Yeah, I guess you could. I just didn't think that way. But I have had frog legs and I don't really care for them. Out of all that wild food that I've had, I don't care for them. They're gamey and you can't get the taste to go away. And so, and sometimes bear meat, if it's not cooked a certain way, I don't do well with it. It
With
just
what?
because it bear meat because it'll be
Oh no,
gamey.
yeah. I've had really good bear and I've had a really bad bear.
Yeah, yeah. There's a way to cook it that makes it more palatable to modern taste, is what I'll say. But otherwise, yeah. So you have to kind of have somebody that knows what they're doing. One thing that we ate a lot of that people might find strange, but I never did, and that was boar meat, BOAR,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we had so many boar in the area, and the wagon train every year they would make a big barbecue when you get close to town out of boar meat, and then it was the whole cast iron giant pot cauldron, excuse me.
Cauldron, wash
Yep.
tub.
Yep. And they would make barbecue meat with boar meat, and it was really good that way because it's basically just wild pig. So if you eat ham, then you in theory should be able to eat boar's meat.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes like. I mean, it is pork. It tastes like pork. Has the same texture as pork. But if
Yeah.
it's not cooked properly, then it is very, very gamey.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that I have tried and I'll never want to eat it again is uh chitlins. I don't like them because I know where they come from. And
Um,
so for some reason I just can't. No, I just can't. How about you?
I've eaten them. I might not choose them, but I have eaten them. Yeah.
Well, it's weird what out of all the things that a person will say yes to, like somebody like you and I, where we're kind of open to trying new tastes, and then it's weird what they'll draw the line at. That's for me. It's no, no, not for me. Not going to do that. Thank you. And I don't like filter organs, liver. Forget it. No, I don't
Oh,
care how much iron it's got.
well,
Yeah.
my logical sense tells me don't eat that, but I
Yeah.
have eaten it many, many times. Gizzards.
Oh yeah, I don't care for them either for the same reason. But boy, I've certainly smelled some, and they are real common still around here, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Do you still eat them every now and then?
I do.
Not many people still do, is what I found out. I probably would try them again just to see if my tastes have changed. My daddy liked them a lot. But
Yeah, I really like them. I tell you, I go to the grocery store now and I'm appalled at the meat that is just Okay, I was at the grocery store yesterday. Everybody knows Wednesday's a grocery store day for me.
That's right.
And they had pork neck bone that almost all the meat had been scraped off of. And that damn stuff was $3.87 a pound.
What?
And I looked at
Why?
that. I was just waiting for the butcher to look up at me so I could wave him over and say,
Wow.
y'all should be ashamed of this. That's the kind of stuff you give away. You don't try to sell that.
I wouldn't feed that to my dog because of the bones.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
if
it's really
I
good
don't
if
have a
you're
dog.
right. It's really good if you're doing broth and bone broth, stuff like that. I mean, but to charge that much money for something that has no meat on it is
Yeah.
obscene.
Yeah,
What was the
it
other
is.
thing? There were turkey backs and turkey necks, and they were $3 or $4 a pound. That
And
was like
that too is
that's
just soup
it's highway
material.
robbery and it's obscene. And I don't know how the grocery store chain, which is a prominent one in this area that I will not name, I don't know how those
Bengals.
sons I don't know how those sons of bitches sleep at night.
They probably sleep very comfortably
Oh, on a
in an
very
air
good
conditioned room.
mattress with their air
Yes.
conditioning on. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure they do. It's just it's just I mean, I don't believe in sin. I say that I preface stuff like that all the time. I don't believe in sin, but by God, if there is sin, that's one of them.
yeah. Well, right and wrong.
Because
So,
nobody's going to eat that except poor people.
right?
So not only are they poor and having to live on turkey necks and neck bones, but they get gouged for the privilege.
Well, that is a little ridiculous. I don't know what to say to that because I would not pay that for them unless I was starving and had no choice.
Exactly.
But I think that if I made it to that level, I would go for the beans for the money.
Exactly. I do beans and rice. If I was looking for
Yeah.
protein, I do beans and rice. And that stuff is still, I mean, it ain't cheap, but it's still pretty damn cheap.
Yes. So around here, there are people like me and you. I do still like if I cook a bird, I put something back and it turns into soup at some point.
Oh, yeah,
And
me
to
too.
me, that's the good stuff, if you ask me. Did you know it has histamines in it? And did you know the the more you have leftovers, the more histamines are in them? That just
No,
pisses me off.
do they add up? Do they?
Yes, yes, yep. I'm learning about people. I've always had food sensitivities, but I had never heard that before. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Well, I guess I'll just have to. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Because how could you say, oh, only going to have fresh soup? I want soup that has had a few days to evolve and figure out exactly who it is, or what kind of soup it is.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. And maybe it's a sign of how much privilege you've got that you can throw away leftovers.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought of that. That's true. I don't like throwing them away.
No.
I don't.
And I guess I would want to know if I freeze it, if right after supper I freeze that and then thaw it,
Yeah.
next week or something, does that stop the histamine process?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll ask and I will try and find out. That's a real
Okay.
good question. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And if you're a person who has allergies during the season, the outdoor allergy season, if
Yeah.
maybe you're a pollen person, uh, they say that if you change your diet around to be low histamine during pollen season, that it can significantly help you without you having to take
Oh,
any medicine then.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know enough about it yet to have any opinion. I'm still kind of amazed at the fact that it exists in food. So yeah, but I'll figure it out. I'll learn as time goes on. And I'll still eat spinach. Spinach is a no-no. Baby spinach is especially a no-no.
What?
Because, you know,
Why is baby spinach worse?
well, the reason you said last week, which is it never got to make it to be a grown-up
Oh,
spinach. But supposedly it has more histamines.
Hmm.
I know. I don't understand it. I'm like I said, but I'm learning. I got a book that by this Dr. Lawrence Afrin, and he is the one that I religiously listen to. You know, and by listen to, I don't mean I do everything he says. I mean I listen to his speaking about the subject matter on YouTube. Okay, that's what I mean by that. But and he wrote a book, and I've been reading it, and he does a lot of referencing on the book. So it's like you read a page, then you go look up whatever he's talking about. And we're about to get into that chapter with chemical sensitivities. Yep.
excellent.
Yep. He's had a bunch of these cases. And so to me, the book is interesting because he tells it in story fashion. And so he talks about, for instance, how he discovered this, because he's kind of the author of a lot of the protocols, or co-author of them. And he did bring certain things to light. And he talks about, well, this patient came in and blah, 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 blah. So he was a hematologist specializing in rare blood diseases. And,
Oh.
and he had a woman came in with a case of burning mouth syndrome. Have you ever heard of that?
No, that sounds awful.
It does, and it is, and that's one of those things. It's like every chapter he talks about a disease that I've never heard of before. It's like, oh my God, I thought I had it bad. There's a woman that he examined that throws up in her sleep about 20 times an hour.
Oh my God.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 20 times a night. 20 times a night. How could you even get any sleep, for one thing? How can you do that and not die if you do that all the time?
Right.
So these are things that, yeah, fascinating stuff that he talks about, and just interesting things. Like I said, it sure makes me grateful because I realize how good I've had it. Every time I get whiny, I think about some of these situations that he's described. This burning mouth syndrome, I don't know. And he even mentioned that he didn't know how this woman had kept from committing suicide from the pain that never left her body. And eventually this stuff got fixed. And it was all these crazy, weird things that you can't imagine happening to people. They got fixed because they were mast cell issues. It's just bizarre. It is. It's and fascinating. So, once you figure it out that anytime your body goes into defense mode for any reason, one of the four kinds of white cells is getting called on. And most likely the one getting called on is your first white cell, the mast cell, the one that humans started with. That's the mast cell. And they contain all of these substances, granules in them, that like this granule might only respond to burning feeling, but then if you get burned, it'll go crazy. This one might only respond to the smell of vinegar, but when you smell vinegar, it's going to think you're getting attacked and it's going to go crazy. And this one
Oh
might
my
only
gosh.
and this one might only be for the venom of a mosquito, but when you get a bite from a mosquito, you're going to be miserable. You see. And so it's a crazy, crazy, weird, bizarre condition. And the fact that it is so prevalent is blowing my mind. It's everywhere. All these doctors have been seeing this all their working lives, and none of them knew it. I didn't know it. You didn't know it. None of us did. So isn't it crazy?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
All these orthopedic things and dental things and skin things and organ things. And so and plus they're the top three complaints about them. Now, how universal are these complaints? Okay. Exhaustion is number one. Skin problems is number two. Number three, food allergies or insomnia. It's one of those two. I can't remember which one. So how many conditions do you know of that have one of those symptoms? All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, gastro issues. All of them. So, but anyway, okay, sorry. I went off on a rampage there.
No, that was a good, because I think there are too many people that they have given up on ever having anything like a normal life because they're plagued with these symptoms, and doctors just don't seem to know what the hell it is. And
Right.
especially with women, because
Hmm.
they, medical studies have not been done on female bodies.
Right.
And so
That is true.
if it doesn't happen to a man, then they're not very interested in it.
You're
I mean,
exactly right.
that's changing some now, to be
Mhm.
fair. But for a long time, I mean, there's this woman. She's probably on TikTok, but I see her in the reels on Facebook, and she does this little kind of sexy dance talking about all the things that can be wrong with women, and that doctors respond with, well, but if you would just lose some weight. But
Yeah.
aren't you sure that's not psychosomatic? Is that not all in your
Yeah.
head? Are you
Yeah.
being hysterical? And she's talking
Yeah.
about endometriosis and polycystic ovary syndrome, all of that.
And we haven't even mapped out the female body completely yet.
No, they just recently discovered, and by recently, I think maybe in the past 10 years, maybe sooner, how big the clitoris is.
That's what I was thinking about. That woman who dresses up as the clitoris
Yeah,
and
yes.
she parades around and nobody knows what the hell she is. And she'll go to these professional seminars or whatever the gatherings are, and still these professional people won't know. They won't have a clue.
No, because
And we're
they think it's a little tiny button.
yeah.
A little button, isn't it?
Well, it's got one. So,
It
but
it,
it's not,
it
that's
does,
not
and
all it's got.
that might be the central part. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
again and again, there is just, and it's the Western medicine thing. If you, I'm going to say this for me. If
okay.
I got hit by a bus, I would want to go to a Western hospital, because they're going to know how to put the bones back together and stick my guts back in and sew me up, all that stuff. It's what Western medicine is really good at.
It's amazing at it.
But what Western medicine is not good at is if you come in, as you have done for years, with a
Mhm.
handful of symptoms. Well, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and they don't have a clue.
Yeah, they send you to a specialist
Yes, or three
because
or
that's
four
not their
specialists.
area. You
Exactly.
see, and I believe that a lot of them do get into the business for the right reasons. And then I think that the ones that stay have to learn how to compromise sometimes with that, because I don't see how you could be a doctor in the West and only be there for someone else's benefit. And they are so saddled by the insurance company or companies, excuse me, and that they don't really have the freedom to practice medicine. So they practice what they can, and I get what I can from it. But if I need in depth, I don't count on them usually for stuff like that. And that's because I just learned that the hard way. And like you said, and I think the statistic I read was that the average person who finds out about mast cell issues, who is diagnosed with a mast cell issue, has seen and been diagnosed with 18 comorbidities. And that's
Wow.
just the ones that they report, because they also report they become fatigued of constantly having to go to this specialist and that specialist and get diagnosed with this thing and that thing. And the whole time, and I've been there, done that. And the whole time, even the doctors that they kind of believe me, they don't have a clue. They pat me on my head and send me on my way, you know. And you can tell, you can hear it in their voices when you've been dismissed in their minds. And so I am right there with it. I got tired of it, really tired of it. And that's why I started kind of looking for what could possibly be going on with me. Yeah. And he says, this Afrin guy, Dr. Afrin says, he says, is it possible that this person could have randomly acquired so many unusual conditions? Is that more likely, or is it more likely that one thing is causing these conditions?
Right.
And so anyway, so that kind of got my attention. Right away, it got my attention. And this guy is pretty incredible, but he sort of works outside the medical system, is what I understand. They have research. He and this other doctor, maybe two other doctors. It's called the AIM Research Center, and it's somewhere up north. And from what I understand, if you can get on his waiting list, you can self-refer, I think. And every time you walk in the door, it is $2,000, period, end of sentence.
Wow.
And they won't, I don't think that they will even bother to file insurance for you, because what they do is outside of what insurance knows how to reference at this point. Although I'm sure that's going to change any day now.
Yeah.
But there's no way for a doctor to make any money on it. You see, so
Yeah.
in the course of learning about it, I've learned about other things too. And it's like, if I was a practicing doctor, goddess forbid, if I had to practice medicine in the world today, you know, I wouldn't want mast cell patient to take up my whole day and me make the exact same amount of money and miss my quota, which means that I wouldn't be able to pay my employees or myself for that day. You know, that this stuff is down to a science as to how many people they have to see every day in order to continue their lifestyle. You know, and which their lifestyle includes paying their employees and paying for rent and so on, you know. And so they're not practicing medicine. I do have some good doctors that know that I'm not bullshitting. And if I tell them something and I say, I think that I would benefit from blah, 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 they're pretty open-minded. And my general practitioner has taken it upon him. So he kind of knows a little bit about mast cell stuff now. He knows enough to know, you know, what's going on. He told me one time, because I was like, yeah, I know you're going to give me some more medicine. And he said, well, what if I gave you some medicine and it really helped and you felt better from it? And he said, is that too hard to imagine? And so that's how he kind of chided me about it. And I was like, okay, you're right. All right, I'll think about it, kind of thing. But he quite often will I'll say, I think this is going to be good for me. And anyway, he has real hope that stuff will improve for me, and things already have, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would
Even though,
say.
yeah. So some of the brain fog has lifted finally after all this time, maybe not all of it, but some of it, and enough to where I can tell. And I am not itching all the time with rashes and stuff. And, you know, I mean, hey, other things are happening too. I know where other things are getting caused. I know what is causing other things is what I need to say. Anyway, enough about me and all this boring stuff. When it's incredibly hot and I've been inside, and it's like, all I do is look up crap about my mast cell stuff. That's what it seems like. Let's go to the video, Alex, and you know, kind of thing.
Well, it's because I'm kind of with your doctor. if your doctor could give you a medication that actually made you feel better, well, that would be good. But
Yeah.
far too often, because they don't know the underlying root cause of something, then they're
Right.
giving you medicine for whatever the symptoms are. And
Yeah.
it may help you with symptom control and management,
Yeah.
but if you don't stay on it, then but you still, whatever the underlying issue is still there.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm with you. That's all I can say about that. You're right about that. So that's not very Appalachian, but then again, it is, because poverty and sickness always go together.
I had a
Malnutrition.
I had a very deep conversation with my good friend Michelle last night late on Facebook Messenger, and we were talking about teeth.
Mm.
And she spent thousands of dollars getting the teeth she has now. She had to have bone reconstruction in her face. I mean, all this stuff. And we were talking about this Appalachian curse of our bad teeth.
Mhm.
And I said,
Yeah.
look, I can say that mine was early childhood neglect and poverty, and early adult poverty. But I spent 20 years with a periodontist who could not keep my teeth in my head.
Right.
So there's a big genetic piece of that that also has to be factored in. But the tooth thing in Appalachia is a big thing because, as always, it's another thing people can make fun of you about.
Oh, it's a cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
I can
cliche.
remember going past one of those put in 2 quarters and get a thing machine.
Yeah.
And in it, you could get, for 50 cents, you could get hillbilly teeth.
God,
And they were, fake teeth that were all rotted out and broken and whatever. And
that's awful.
it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah,
But
it
we don't
is.
address that because the people in half Appalachia can't even drink their damn drinking water.
I know. I know. Tell me. And by the way, damn, with the chlorine around here is strong.
It's gotten
Holy moly.
very, very strong.
I guess. I mean, when I think about the water source, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But but still, it'll
Well,
come out of the sink, and
but
I'm like, oh my gosh.
the water source is the Tree Reservoir.
Which in theory is wonderful. Well,
I
part
mean,
of it is Mills River too, isn't it?
and also the reservoir is not that far from a Superfund site.
Uh-huh. Nothing is that far from Superfund side around here.
Boy, now
we,
there's you a T-shirt. Nothing's
yeah,
far from a Superfund site.
around here. Yeah, it's true. Boy, it's sad but true. Well, we have been just dour, or I have. I don't know.
Well, I think
Taking,
it's been more than that. I think we've been savage.
it's the heat.
Well, it ain't the heat today because it is like 70 something degrees.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's summer weather, typical summer weather for us. So yeah, you're right about that.
Well, I'm looking at my phone right now, which tells me it's 76 degrees outside.
Well, so we haven't been that savage today, but I
We have been
mean,
pretty savage.
okay, all right. We should apologize then.
I don't apologize. I said what I said, as they say.
I said what
I
I
said what
said.
I said. She said what she said. I said what I said. And that's just how we are.
Yeah,
And if you don't like it, well, I'm sorry.
that's what I said. Yeah. Oh man,
I think we are exercising our uh, old woman privilege or our elder
oh, I love it.
privilege.
I am loving it. I am
We
loving
got
it.
special old folk privilege. I mean, me more than you because you just became old folks. But yeah,
But
although
I'm
I don't
liking
think.
it.
But do you really become old folks till you can get Social Security?
It depends. Yeah, I would say most definitely. Old is a state of mind. And old is not what everybody thinks it is. At least that's my experience of it so far. But yeah, you can be old. I know somebody, I dated somebody in high school who was the same age as me, but he was an old man. I'm
Oh
telling you,
yeah.
he was.
My
So
my daughter has always been older than I am.
really, that's
Yeah, always. Since she was about 6 years old, she was older than me.
yeah, that's
And I was
interesting.
40 something then.
One of these days, I'm gonna have a sit down with her and just say, tell me everything. Tell me anything you want."
And she will roll her eyes and go, "Too much to tell, lady.
Ah,
How much you got? How much time you got?"
oh Lord, a lot. When you get back from Cornwall,
Yeah,
so when you get back, we're taking that trip. We're going to go somewhere and just get away, even if it's for an afternoon. There's some plants. You remember that hillside we went out to and got those plants or the
yeah,
seeds and stuff? I want to get back out there. Is this fall? I I guess it would be better for that place this fall. But me and you can find somewhere to get away to, and just I want to take a deep dive into some of these subjects, and I don't want to feel like I better be careful of what I'm saying.
yeah,
I do. I've had an idea for a while, and I've been kind of, I listen when y'all out there post anything to any of anywhere that you find us. I will eventually find it and I read every word. And for the most part, it's very interesting stuff, I have to tell you. The people, and I'm proud about it a little bit because we do have some weird people, okay, who listen to us, but they can handle us in all our glorious weirdness and we
yeah.
can handle them. But we have, I think, a pretty intelligent group of people. It makes me happy because the kind of people I wouldn't really want to attract, don't you? And
Well, and I think our listeners are extraordinarily savvy, and but they also are extraordinarily kind.
yes,
And I hear from people that are among the weirdlings about so and so's husband died, so and so's mom is sick, and everybody just kind of jumps on to say, "Well, I'm gonna come by your house because I'm the one that lives closest to you," and that kind of, I don't know, it's just
it's good.
good human behavior.
It is. We're lucky. We're really
We
lucky.
are lucky. We know some very good people,
Yeah. And
which is
I don't understand. I still don't understand why y'all want to sit and listen to us or just listen to us, excuse me. I don't understand it, but I'm grateful about it. And
golly,
as
yes, yes, yes.
yep. So maybe next time, let's tell some stories. You wanna? Let's tell some
Yes.
stories.
Let
I've got so many family stories I could tell, but I got a few other stories too, and I know you do.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Now, and y'all, when Alicia and I had our pre-show phone call, we talked about some stuff that is coming up for us, like the whole card situation is turning around, so that may happen pretty soon. Talking about a cookbook, but you know what, Alicia, would be fun to do is a
But
book of traditional ghost stories.
yes,
That'd be fun.
yes, it would. Or even maybe a book that had a few that were a little more modern, but they were still Appalachian.
Well, and also we could do videos of us going to different haunted places and seeing
Ooh,
seeing what we see. That'd be fun
yeah.
too.
Yeah, we should do that. Or even going and interviewing a few folks
Oh
who have
yeah,
seen things.
definitely.
Well, I've been in the ghost groups. Yeah, as you know, the ghost hunter kind of groups off and on for years, and I still get calls. I consider it my consulting business.
Oh,
So if I get any decent requests that sound genuine, then maybe we can go and check some of them out. Although maybe not. I don't know. Well, I don't want to overthink it. Let's just see what happens.
okay.
Yeah. Some of those things can be kind of uh
Lame.
some can be lame, but I feel like there are some situations that can be dangerous. That's, and maybe not by the ones that we're trying to call to in the afterlife, but maybe by the people who called us in for the help. There's strangeness associated with a lot of those calls. If you've never been on, no, never mind. I'm talking to you. You've been on a whole bunch of them. Never mind.
I've been all kinds of places.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
I was thinking about that song. I was. And you know what I woke up singing? A song by Burt Bacharach.
Oh, what a great songwriter he was. Which one was it?
What do you get when you fall in love? That one, you remember?
Guy with a pin to burst your bubble. That's what you get for all your trouble.
That's the one.
Oh,
and he had Elvis
songwriter.
Costello did it with him.
Yes.
And I just thought it was a great song. Anyway.
He's due a revival, I think.
I believe so. So tell me what's for supper, because we've been on this phone for a while.
Well, we are recording late in the day. We've already had supper. We had some roasted pork.
Uh-huh.
Kind of some kind of teriyaki sauce with vegetables. Yeah, done, and tomatoes. Because I got tomatoes at the store yesterday, and it's so hot. They were already starting to get kind of wrinkly at the top. So I cut 2 of them up just into wedges, and Joe had one and I had one. I had a whole tomato for supper. It was great.
They're starting to taste a little better finally. But I still haven't had a decent watermelon yet. The watermelon is awful.
you ain't supposed to have watermelon until after 4th of July.
I know. Uncle Vodney used to say that to us.
Yeah, that's what they always told me. You can't eat watermelon before, not after, but before the 4th of July. 4th of July ought to be your first bit of watermelon.
Yeah. No, wait. I'll tell you, Daddy Vaughn said that. I'm sorry. Not Uncle Vodney, Daddy Vaughn. Yeah, you're right. But the cherries have been phenomenal this year. And I got a present, and it's a cherry pitter that does 6 cherries at a time. You just put them in a little divot there, and then you press it down as if it was one of those 2-hole staplers.
Yeah.
And when you pull it back up, 6 cherries are pitted, and the pits are in a little container. It's the best thing ever.
Wow.
And it'll pull out and fit on the bowl. Oh my gosh. I had about 2.5 pounds of cherries, and I pitted those cherries in about 15 minutes.
Good Lord.
With my hands. And it's made by OXO.
Oh yeah. No, they do really nice kitchen tools.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm probably going to get one for my sister-in-law for Christmas, because she loves stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep. Seeing as how I'm such a big celebrator of the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
But anyway, another conversation.
We'll do that one long about November.
Yep. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll give you a holler before I show up.
All right, youngin'.
Yep. And other than that, just take care. And everybody out there, thank you for listening. And find us if you've got something you need to tell us. Find us.
We'd love to hear it. And we'd love for you to, wherever you do that, if you like us, leave us a little review or some stars or something.
Yeah,
I didn't know about any of that till Alicia today in our pre-show telephone call said, "Oh yeah, no, we've gotten some amazing reviews." Well, I don't know. So how about some more?
Yeah, we're not shy.
All right, you be good. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I love y'all. Bye.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Wyrd Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.
Is it you shouldn't steal from anybody,
Yeah.
but you especially should not steal from a witch. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, how's your life now, bitch?